Hello, my friend, and welcome to the Sales Podcast. I'm Wes Schaefer, the Sales Whisperer, your host. And to say I am fired up today would be an understatement. We have one of my top 5, maybe top 3 all-time sales superheroes that I've looked up to. And we tell the story. I tell the story, I share it with them on how I came to find this individual and the impact he's had on me. But we have Mr. Jeffrey Gitomer, and I've got good news and I've got bad news. So, the bad news. Jeffrey's mic is a little hot, and then mine was unplugged. My loving, very artistic, a very creative 17-year-old daughter, I've been allowing her to borrow this very expensive, very nice Rode Podcaster microphone. And she brings it back. She's very reliable. But she did not plug it in. The cable was just sitting kind of behind my computer. So you can hear me, though. It's just not this deep, rich bass like you're accustomed to. And I did it twice. I did it for this interview, and I did it for a CRM Sushi podcast interview. So, needless to say, I'm buying my daughter a new microphone of her own to avoid this from happening again. But hey, the show must go on. But the reason I'm excited is twofold. The second, and we didn't plan this at all, Jeffrey just jumped into a compliment. I already took a snippet out, shared it online, and I was kind of speechless, which is kind of unique if you know me. But it's a great interview with a great sales trainer, someone who's been prolific in writing, in speaking, in training, and consulting, the author of many, many books. I linked to several of them in this interview. He's got a sales coaching program. So, and as always, I don't pull any punches. We ask the hard questions. Jeffrey answered them, and you'll see why he's the pro. I mean, he doesn't hesitate. He lives and eats sales, marketing, business development. So he's researched this. He has an opinion, maybe it's not an answer, but certainly an opinion, but an informed opinion on the state of sales, the path, the trajectory that we're on as a society, and how he recommends you prepare for the coming changes in this economy, in this environment. So you're in for a treat. And as I mentioned last time, I created a new Facebook page for us. I'd asked for some feedback from all of you, so thank you for that. I'm working with my own sales and business coaches, mentors, mentoring mentors. And so here it is. So go visit theimplementors.com, theimplementors.com. It'll take you to the Facebook page, request to join. There's a couple questions we ask, really simple, just so we know who you are, and you are in. Join now and get more interaction with us, more interaction with me, because as the group grows, it'll be harder to engage with everyone, certainly in a timely manner. So if you want a little bit of free help, I'd recommend you do that now. So now let's bring on Jeffrey Gitomer.
You're one of the few people that I actually subscribe to and read on a regular basis because A, you're a good writer, and B, you make sense.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Oh, no problem. It's my pleasure.
We'll hop right into it. I mean,
Go.
Yeah.
California's traffic, it's noontime. People are going everywhere, right?
Hey, I work from home, so those poor suckers. But, you're a man that needs no introduction. I discovered you, actually, a CEO of mine. I was at a startup in 2004 in Austin. Mm-hmm. He brought us the Little Red Book of Selling. He found it in an airport, and he brought it to all of us. We had 11 salespeople. He bought it for everybody in sales, marketing, ops. And I remember opening it up and said, "Kick your own ass." I was like, I like this guy.
Right, exactly. The Little Red Book, just by the way, has become the largest selling sales book of all time.
Oh, wow.
And ironically, my publisher is in Austin.
Oh, good.
So there was all kinds of distribution in all those bookstores. We actually the Little Red Book was on the bestseller list 103 straight weeks, which for a sales book is absolutely unprecedented.
Right.
And the reason it was on there was because of airport sales.
Oh, really?
vice presidents of sales would run through, buy one, throw it back on an admin desk and say, "Get me 1,000."
Right.
And that's what would happen. You know,
Yeah.
read it on a plane. It's very readable.
Yeah.
And it was an unbelievable time for the success of a book. I don't know that it could be repeated,
Right.
just based on the cost now of putting things in an airport, the Barnes & Noble kind of demise, and Amazon's rise to prominence based on just size.
Right.
I think Barnes & Noble is now a showroom for Amazon.
Yeah, really.
And prime is now a verb.
Yeah.
What'd you do? I primed it.
Yep.
Uber's a verb. Google's a verb. All the people that don't understand what verbs are need to go back and look at things like BlackBerry, Yellow Pages, stuff that's dead. So what is your prescribed talk for today?
I have no prescription. It is two guys hanging out at the bar with a recorder. So I like to get into things. I like to go down the rabbit hole.
Okay.
With your experience, I have a question for you, because I'm kind of slowly getting this. I'm seeing it a little bit online, but with artificial intelligence and social media and all this other stuff, is the role of the salesperson, is it dead? Are we dinosaurs, man? Is the end near?
Some will be. The ones where artificial intelligence can actually take over, or online purchase can take over. I'll give you probably the biggest example of that in 5 years ago, or maybe even 10 years ago, was the stock market.
Right.
You could go online and go to TD, whatever, or go to, Scott Trade, or, and the Merrill Lynches of the world suffered a huge hit because they could no longer get a big fee for their trade. So they've already reduced their profit, depend on volume. You couldn't really tell whether your guy wanted to trade because he needed some trades, or because he was actually doing something, quote, in your best interest. Well, that whole system has become so sophisticated now that when you buy a stock, you actually pick the day you want to sell it.
Right.
And that world has changed. Okay, so now let's fast forward and let's go to something that hasn't changed yet. Let's go to the multiple listing service in real estate. What do you think's going to happen there? Mother Google right now is frying that potato.
Yeah.
And they're figuring out what they got to do. And on one day, they're going to go, oh, by the way, we're now a multiple listing real estate service.
Right.
And that business is dead. And the real estate brokers will rely more on a smaller commission and a more educated buyer.
Right.
They're already becoming educated, but they haven't reached that level of sophistication yet.
Right.
Now let's take it to another one. Let's go to the car industry. Tesla has disrupted that to a point where everyone is afraid of what's going to happen next.
Right.
The day the buy now button goes on General Motors or Chrysler or Daimler, whatever they call themselves this month, the day it goes onto that website or those websites, every car salesperson in America will lose their job in an hour and a half.
Right.
And the only reason that it'll take an hour and a half is because they got to clean their desk out and get their crap together and, tell everybody goodbye and hug them and done. But an 18-year-old or a 19-year-old or a 20-year-old who's computer literate will deliver the car.
Right.
They know how to work the radio, and the sales guy usually does not.
Right.
So, how's that world changing? And the answer is the consumers are becoming smarter, and automation is taking over. Now, that's not artificial intelligence yet. That's simply automation.
Right.
Artificial intelligence is a whole other thing that goes into a call center and will actually help the sales guy make a sale.
Right.
Now, artificial intelligence, when you call the airline, that's artificial intelligence. Thanks for calling. Tell me in a few words what you want. No, give me an agent. I couldn't quite give me an agent. So they are still using artificial intelligence to piss people off.
Right.
Yeah, please, to serve you better, please select from among the following 9 options.
Because your call is important to us.
Yeah. If it's so damn important, pick up the phone.
Right.
And you'll only be on hold 17 minutes.
Right.
They can figure out, they have the answers to everything. They just don't understand the word serve.
Right.
It's self-serve.
Yeah.
Or do what's expedient, build the profit. The thing I think that I hate the most is they've now outsourced call centers to other countries.
Yeah.
And you don't feel you know what I mean? If I want to get a room at a Hilton or I want to talk to American Express about something, I kind of want to talk to American.
Yeah.
And they cannot transfer the call.
Right.
Or they won't. One of those two things.
Right.
So that's what's happening in that world. And, for all the people that are looking to what's going on, I think if you're a hotel clerk, you better be careful because they're now having automated check-in machines.
Right.
Some service positions are going to go away. Some will be enhanced, just like anything else. There'll be a shakeout. The robots have changed the car manufacturing industry. So why would they not, why would they not change other industries as well? Just be aware of what's being made and what's being done and understand that sales jobs and manufacturing jobs are in jeopardy.
Right.
All over the lot. Tech will help. Other assembly things that can't be done automatically will be helped. The iPhone factories or the, whatever the other technology pieces are that require use of a chip and stuff like that. There's certain things will always be there. But, Wes, there's a shakeout coming in the next 10 years. And it's going to shake out month by month or year by year, and no one can really predict.
Right.
You just can't. What's your opinion of it?
Yeah, I agree with all that. And, I deal more in the B2B, and I think you do too as well. Golly, every time I speak with a company, I met with a company on Friday, and we talked about working the phone. I was in person in Salt Lake City 2 weeks ago. I'm about working the phone. And, B2B, the phone is still alive and well, and a salesperson still can thrive if they do things right. But man, everybody is certainly lured by the easy button. They're lured by, just do a blog post, just do a tweet, and you'll just if you tweet right, business will come to you. I'm like,
no, it's not going to. But you can attract people. I've been very successful online. I wanted, before we get off the phone center things, do you know Jeb Blunt?
Sure.
Have you ever had him on the show?
I have. I got his books right here.
Cool. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
He's a good friend of mine, and he is one of the few people that's actually intelligent about making a cold call or making a follow-on call or dialing for dollars. I totally respect him.
Yeah.
You might also try Michael Padone. Sales Buzz, I think. Yeah, write his name. I'll get you his thing offline. He's good too.
Okay, sure.
But Jeb it's as far as I'm concerned, he's the standard in the industry right now.
He's a traveling fool too. Good grief.
Yeah. And he lives in Augusta, Georgia, where you have to take a plane to take a plane. But this is the challenge right now. Are salespeople keeping up not just with their jobs coming or going, but with the way buyers are buying, with the way either consumers are buying or buyers are buying, the procurement departments or the CEO departments? How are they buying things right now on a more sophisticated level? And most of the buyers are way more sophisticated than they used to be, plus the fact, and this is what salespeople don't get. When a sales guy walks in the door, they're making a face-to-face call with a CEO or a buyer or a plant manager. The guy's Googling the salesperson as they walk in the door to see who is this person.
Right.
So in my audiences right now, I tell everyone to Google themselves. Yeah. And that's what your prospect is seeing. That's what your customer is seeing before you ever sit down.
Yep.
So they know you have a Facebook page. They've already been to it. They know you've got a LinkedIn page. They've already visited it. They know you don't tweet. They know you have no YouTube presence. They know you don't have a blog. They know you don't have a personal website. You're walking into a nobody. In my laws book, the 21.5 Unbreakable Laws, there's a full-page quote that says, I want to do business with a somebody, not a nobody.
Right.
And that's as easy as I can, when we communicated to do this thing, I want to do your thing. I get requests all the time from people, and I turn them down. I Google them. They're a Twitter expert, but they have 785 followers. You know what I mean? I have more followers than me, and then you'll be a Twitter expert.
What do you say to like the corporate guy? Like my best friend, he's a mentor to me. I've known him since 2000. We've been in tech. He has stayed in technology nonstop the whole time. Very high level, a very well-known tech company. He is not online. He may have a LinkedIn profile. He's nowhere else.
Well, the tech guys like to try to remain anonymous. They don't want to be found out or found. I don't think I'm in agreement with it, but I certainly respect it.
Yeah, because he's legit.
Right. If you're legit and if you have a lot of money, you don't need to do anything. If you have a great position, you don't need to do anything. It's a choice.
Right.
And for me, I have no choice because I want to sell a book. And if I want to sell a book, I have to have all the other components that go along with it to develop what I refer to as my platform, my Twitter platform. Like most people have 500 to 2,000 connections on LinkedIn. I have 27,000 connections on LinkedIn.
Right.
I can't go away from that.
Right.
My YouTube channel has 5 million views. I can't go away from that. So I have to keep myself current. And in order to do that, I have some of the best people I've ever worked with in my life to help produce things and upload things and sometimes even tweet. I tweet myself, but sometimes other people tweet for me. People go, well, what's Twitter? Twitter elected the president of the United States.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Yeah, really.
They have on average 300 million users, on the monthly basis that they've been tracking it. There's a graph that I just saw. It's unbelievable.
Right.
It's unbelievable how many people are online on a daily basis and checking out what other people say. So,
but what about what does the 28-year-old sales rep, sitting in a cubicle with 5 or 10 or 20 other salespeople, how do they build a footprint if the company, maybe the company doesn't support them, maybe they're not against it, right? But they're like, here's your phone, here's your territory.
Yeah.
Make some sales.
No.
know.
Yeah, I understand that. So this is what they do. You're not an employee, you're a person. Once you get that part, you're fine. You go home, and instead of watching some stupid-ass television show and drinking a beer, you go online and you register your name.com. And if you have a common name and you can't get your name.com, then you put the great in front of your name, or I am in front of your name, or the one and only in front of your name, or damn straight behind your name. And you have a one-page website that says, my philosophy for how I treat customers. Somebody's going to look it up and find it. Then you start to post on LinkedIn. Then you start to tweet your thoughts. All of that stuff Mother Google will find and put up online. So that when somebody Googles you, you're at least the first page, not number one, the first page on Google. And you build your reputation from there so that when you are in your menial phone job, whatever it is, someone's still going to Google you.
Right.
That's what they're going to find, and that's how you grow.
Right.
Eventually, you grow out of your menial job, or you have to keep it because you've decided to drink beer and watch television.
Right.
That's a choice when you go home.
Yeah.
Drink beer, watch TV, or do something productive for your future.
Well, I remember, so like when I read your book in 2004, Little Red Book of Selling, and you're talking about being unique. And so MySpace was the deal back then, right? So,
right.
I mean, I jumped into MySpace. I had some links. But I was working with a company out of Austin, and they sold Blade PCs, not servers, but PCs. And our cards were slender and thin. And because we were a startup and I knew the CEO, he was the president of my previous company, I got cards made that said Blade PC Guru. And I would walk into meetings, and people would go, I've never been a guru before.
Damn. Right. Exactly.
And it broke the ice, and it told me something about them. If they were stuck up and whatever, it told me about them. If they laughed and chuckled, it told me something about them. So I kind of knew how to handle the meeting from that point forward. But so ever since then, I mean, I've been tweaking things. Even when I was in corporate America, I was pushing the envelope as much as I could until finally I pushed out of the envelope.
Gotcha. I always look to see what a person's sense of humor is.
Right.
And I test it tremendously. I don't care where I am. If I'm in a hotel and it's 10 o'clock in the evening and somebody says checking in, I go, no, I'm here for my hair transplant. Like, dude, what do you think I'm doing? I got bags. I'm tired. I just came off the plane.
Yeah.
But the way they respond to me determines who I'm dealing with.
Right. And
I want to make sure that I'm dealing with someone who's got at least some kind of sense of humor, because it makes it that much more fun. Anytime I lead with humor.
And I know you do, and I know you talk about, like, in your cold calling, sprinkling in humor, because it's tough. So why not have some fun with it? Have fun with them, voicemails.
Right.
But do you? I've seen others that are like, "Hey, it's like nitroglycerin, right? Use just a little because it can't blow up on you."
Well, and you have to keep it straight.
Right.
You have to do it in a way that you don't offend anybody. You can't, you can't make a Hillary Clinton lost the election joke because you're going to offend somebody. You can't make any gender jokes anymore. There's just. You can't use humor in a way that you used to be able to use it, and it was considered fun. Now it's considered offensive.
Right.
So I have to be very, very careful when I'm in front of an audience, male, female, north of the border, south of the border, it doesn't matter, in this country, out of this country. I have to be very careful about how I select what I say.
Right. Yeah, but I follow your approach. My default mode is to bring in humor.
Mm-hmm.
But what do you do? What do you do when you've got that stick in the mud? When you have the S or the C on a disc profile, right? You got to deal with this tech guy. He wants to read the manual. Those always, still to this day, but always when I was in corporate America, I'd get along fine with the CIO, CEO, CFO, but then I go down, it's like, but techie, Timothy the tech, he's got to review this thing. And I'm like,
engineers are tough to deal with. Techs are tough to deal with. But what I found is if I can make friends with them, if I can talk computers with them, if I can talk things that we both have in common with them, I can break the ice.
Sure.
I don't start my pitch of any kind, sales talk, sales presentation, until I feel like I've built some rapport with that person and we've found some kind of common ground.
Right.
If I can't do that, I don't want to start.
Right.
Because I'm talk about going down a rabbit hole. That's a bad rabbit hole to go down. Because then they go, well, how much is it? And if somebody asks me how much is it, if it's an interruption to me, I go, look, it's $1 million, but for you, I have a special deal. If you'll just wait till I'm done. and I've diffused the situation. They still don't. I haven't given my price, but I've given them an answer.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. I do something. I haven't heard of that one, but I'm adding it to my list.
Thank you.
I would tell them, well, it's between, I'd give them a true range, right? It's between $500 and $50,000, depending on the configurations. Is that all you need to know? Or would you mind if I ask you a few more questions so I can give you an exact price?
Yeah, perfect.
Same kind of thing, but I like the $1 million.
$1 million, but for you, I got a deal.
So does cold calling truly exist anymore?
Yes, it does. There's call centers all over the world that do it. Some do it more successfully than others. Most people don't like to be cold called. There's laws against it now. There's do not call lists. There's all kinds of other silly things that exist because consumers are whining about the fact that someone called me at home and interrupted my dinner. Seriously, dude, get over it.
How about in a B2B setting? Because I know
a B2B, if you're only calling for an appointment, you're not calling to make a sale, I hope.
Right.
Although there's some B2Bs that, the building business, the Outback building business, wherever that's a $5,000 over the phone sale.
Right.
Steel buildings. But they rely more on leads that are coming in from the internet rather than cold calls.
Well, where I'm taking this is I tell people, I don't think, but if you have a brain and a computer, there shouldn't really be a true, pure cold call. In the sense that they may not be expecting my call. Okay, you could call that a cold call. But if I can look you up see where you went to school, see where you live, see that you like, Pat's Blue Ribbon. I mean, when I call, like if I visit Ford and then I call and I make a sale to Ford, then I call Chevy, I don't consider that a cold call.
Yeah, no, I understand that. But I would want to do some personal research on the guy that I'm calling on or the one I'm calling on to find out where they went to college. I had a bank client north of Milwaukee, and I found out that the owner's son who was running the bank was a Green Bay Packers fan and loved chocolate. I sent him a Green Bay Packer hat full of chocolate-covered footballs. You know what I mean? The football wraps and just a cute little thing. I had a reason to talk to him.
Right.
He couldn't say no to me.
Right.
So I try my best to gift something that is not over the top.
Right.
I'll spend $20 and that's about it, but I want to make it personal or I won't do it.
Right.
Maybe I send him my book, but only if I'm certain that it's something that he would be interested in, or she.
Right. Yeah, because then, and that's what I mean, with any research, in B2B, I don't think cold calls exist anymore for an educated individual.
Well, it doesn't have to exist if you do pre-call research.
Right.
Of any kind.
Right.
And it's not an ice cold call. It just may be a first time call.
Exactly. Yeah. First time, I think, is a better name.
Yeah, I want to write that down. You'll steal it. I just want to make sure I invented it.
It's right here. I'm taking notes on your blog post. So
what I do, for me, I don't know what everybody else does, but I text myself. I'll tweet that as soon as we're done. If you do pre-call research, it's no longer a cold call, it's a first time call, period. Treat it like that, and I promise you'll do better.
There you go. You heard it here first, folks.
Bingo. That's my tweet this afternoon. Actually, I'll probably tweet it tonight and tomorrow.
Yeah, very cool.
Morning is a better time to tweet, I found.
So morning, like East Coast time? So
8 o'clock in the morning is my prime time for posting on Instagram, which I do myself almost exclusively, and tweeting.
Right.
Your article on LinkedIn can pretty much go anytime because people are on LinkedIn all the time during the day.
Right.
Posting up a video, we tend to do it when it's finished rather than by what time it is.
Right. Sure. Are you seeing any platform work better than others for paid advertising?
We use some of it, but I'm going to tell you that it hasn't worked for us the way we wanted it to work. I can tell you, though, that it has worked. Mm-hmm. I think if we were more sophisticated at it, if we had Mother Google coming in here once a week to tell us the keywords and the right words, I think it might work better. The only reason that we haven't dug into it is because my phone still rings with people. And I would prefer to have my phone ring than I would to advertise.
Sure.
But, I can target my competitors' pages. I mean, there's all kinds of things you can do that I think it's kind of fun, literally, because it's cheap.
Right.
And if it's fun and cheap and it's effective, then you use it. I'm not against it, that's for sure.
Right. Now, but are you saying basically you're in a position where your body of work plus your consistent content production, your organic content keeps the phone ringing?
Yes.
Yeah, cool.
Not as much as it's going to ring. I think the economy is going to take a huge step forward. And I think that when and if the tax cut comes, I think that all kinds of corporations are going to have all kinds of money now, and they're going to invest more in training. I think for the last couple of terms of people, that there has not been that much enthusiasm to grow the sales force because taxes were high, turnover was equally as high, and competition was so stiff that people just backed off.
Why are companies so crazy in that regard, right? It's like times are tough. People don't have money. So I'm going to keep the people that I have and let them just be mediocre.
Yeah, well, there's a theory behind that as well. But I think the main thing you have to look at is that I want to try to improve my team. And I wanted them to try to hit a better number than they're hitting right now. So I have to do something. But it becomes a budgetary issue, not a training issue.
Right.
Budget first, training second.
Right. I started the Sales Whisperer. I bought the domain name September 1st, 2006. I was watching The Dog Whisperer.
Got it.
And he said, I have my laptop on my lap, right? And he says that he rehabilitates dogs and trains their owners. And I thought, I do that with salespeople, right? I rehabilitate these beat up, abused, neglected salespeople and train their managers who, for the most part, haven't had any sales management training, right? They were just plucked from the team and said, hey, you're the most aggressive
sales guy we have.
So now
be a leader and screw everything up. Right.
So how do you, like when I'm brought in, because people will call and say, hey, can you train my people? And they think the answer will be, oh, yes, of course. Please hire me. And I'm always like, how do you know you have people that are trainable? And that, kind of shocks their system. Yeah. But then, I start with the managers. It's like, how do you know my stuff is going to stick? Are you just going to drop them off like at daycare and I'm just going to make them better and give them back to you? How do you get in that manager's head and say, look, I'm not a threat to you. I'm going to make you look better. Even when you admit that you don't know something, that there's an area maybe you're not an expert in, and you admit it and bring somebody in, you're showing that you're a bigger person. But how do you convey that?
Vulnerable, yeah. The only way you're going to get training to stick is train every day. So my online university serves as reinforcement, reminder, new teaching tool. And I try to take my talk and put it on the learning portal of the customer that I gave the talk for. So they have their talk as reinforcement, my stuff is reinforcement, and their people are taking an assessment, getting a certification. It works. Right now it's working.
Right.
And it's GitomerLearningAcademy.com if anybody out there is looking to go to it. GitomerLearningAcademy.com. And it's inexpensive. It's an annual subscription, but it puts people in a position where they can actually learn something right before a sales call.
Right.
Or literally right after a sales call if you got rejected and you want to pump yourself back up because you got another call to make. On the way to a call, you can listen. In the evening when you're home, you can watch. During the morning when you're on some boring conference call, you can watch. If you have earphones, I think it's important to be exposed to training every day.
Right.
That's the only way that a sales guy is going to achieve more. That's the only way that you're going to be able to train somebody in a way that sticks. Because they get it for a day, they may even get it for 3 days, but a week later they're turning around going, where'd that guy go? I need that guy again.
Right.
And that's what a lot of management teams or leadership teams don't understand. The need for consistent daily training. Some do. Most don't.
Well, and that's what I try to get into my listeners' heads, my client, anybody I talk to. You, like you said, you're not an employee, you're a person, right? You're a human, you're an entrepreneur as well as a salesperson, and you got to take it upon yourself. I mean, and it changed my life. I bought a 12-week teleclass in 2005, and my company wouldn't pay for it. I bought it myself.
Right.
When I came to
if they don't pay for your lunch, do you starve? If they don't pay for your gas, you put it on your car on the side of the road? Come on, dude.
And when I saw you in Anaheim, right, I paid for that. I want to go see Jeffrey Gitomer. But I invested in myself, and then I grew as an employee. Then I outgrew them to do my own thing. So, even if your company won't pay for it, right, check it out. GitomerLearningAcademy.com. You got to take some ownership, right? Company's not going to give you every single thing that you need. And if they do, then it's probably McDonald's, and they're going to pay you $14 an hour until the kiosks come in and they fire you.
And your closing question is, do you want fries with that? But I think, listen, more importantly than that is the opportunity that it affords you to become not just successful at sales, but a success.
Right.
And today's, the millennial kids, they want to be successful.
Right.
They don't want to win one for the Gipper. They don't want to go out and sell one for the team to make the quota, to make the number. They don't give a shit about that.
Right.
What they care about is their car, their house, their vacation, their baby, their tuition, whatever the deal is, that's what they want to take care of. That's their world.
Right. Very nice. Well, thanks for coming on. I know I don't want to take...
Well, it's my damn pleasure.
I don't want to take up every minute of our time. I don't want to outstay my welcome. But one question I do like to ask my guests is, our listeners imagine, they're jogging, they're on a bike, they're on a treadmill, they're on a plane. Maybe they can't do something right this second. What should they do after listening to this? What one action should they implement? Because it's not enough to learn, right? You got to take action.
The best thing, when I was studying sales, I would learn a technique or a strategy and then go out and use it as fast as I could so that I had it in my own mind. Number one, does it work? Number two, do I have to modify it to work better? What do I have to do? So I was always challenging myself to do something. And because I was selling in New York, there's always an opportunity.
Right.
I mean, it was just, hundreds of thousands of businesses that I could just walk into on any day of the week and talk to anybody, whether it was an owner or a department store buyer or whatever, for what I was selling.
Right.
But my challenge for salespeople is this. You can't just listen to it once and think you own it. Repetition is the mother of mastery. And they have to listen to a lesson 4 times, 5 times, even 10 times before they get it and they can do it in their sleep and they can do it on their own. And they don't fumble. It's asking the right question. It's engaging the person emotionally. It's making sure you give a compelling presentation. It's earning the sale, not having necessarily to close the sale.
Right.
And then building some kind of a relationship that's based on trust.
Right.
I only want to know 2 things about it. After I make a sale to somebody, I want to know 2 things. Number 1, will they do business with me again? Number 2, will they refer somebody to me? That's it. I don't want to know anything else. Right. If I know those 2 things, I have won, and I've won big time. Right. I got a loyal customer that's going to give me a referral.
Right.
Lower my cost of acquisition, lower my cost of doing business, lower my cost of sales, and increase my earnings.
Right.
Okay, I'm ready. Thanks, Dad.
Yep. Amen. Great one to live by.
Hey, dude. Very nice to talk to you. And when I come out to California, we'll hang out.
Please let me know if I
can. We'll go to an In-N-Out burger, which is, I'm sure you have 500 of them around you.
Well, I'm going to take you somewhere else, but you got to come a little bit inland. It's called Miguel's.
Yeah.
And we go just to the Miguel's Jr., which is the smaller one, and I think it's the best burrito. I eat them all. I had them last night. I love them. But cool. I'm a simple man.
We will go. All right, Wes, thank you very, very much.
Right. Thanks, Jeffrey. Have a great day.
Cheers.
Bye-bye. So 14 years almost to the day that I learned about Jeffrey Gitomer, I have him on my podcast, and I learned that he reads me every day. Or not every day, but when I write. And then I get that recorded and have him on my show. How about that for overnight success, huh? Anything worth doing is worth doing until you get it done. So that right there, that was a good day. It was a good day a few weeks ago when he agreed to come on the show. We're connected on LinkedIn. They don't communicate that much. I did have a little bit of email correspondence with him a couple of years ago, 2-3 years. I don't know. I could go look it up. When I saw that he did subscribe and was opening. And so that was kind of cool. But I didn't do anything with that, right? I'm not going to try to curry any favor or whatever. Just try to continue delivering value. And so when I reached out to have him on the show, he replied immediately with his assistant, got hold of his assistant. She booked immediately. So this all happened very quickly. Just because I asked. So case in point there, right? You get what you ask for. And you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So start taking bigger shots. So it was great having him on the show. And, I just had him on yesterday, and we're publishing this within 48 hours because he's a well-known guy. I want to get it out. I'm fired up about how the interview went anyway. So here we are. So, hey, thanks for listening. Please join us. Let's continue the dialogue at theimplementors.com. It's a free group. You can join, ask questions. We can interact, get to know each other a little bit better, and see how I can help you sell more, faster, at higher margin with less stress and more fun. Please leave a review, and remember to sell different.